Live from FedEx Forum, this is The Odds Couple on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Here's Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker.
Hello, good people.
Hey!
Fish in the house! Welcome to The Odds Couple. It is Chapter 6, Week 44. Week 44, that means we are 8 weeks away from Week 0 and the start of college football season.
2 months away?
8 weeks, yeah. About 2 months, yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
about,
exactly 2 months.
We got a big show for you today. It is our post-NBA first round of the draft show. We will grade every pick of the first round. Cooper Flag, Lang, go.
B minus.
No, we're not going to do that. But we are going to talk about the NBA.
Let me do the Brooklyn Nets.
I'll do the Pelicans.
We will discuss the NBA draft, also a little baseball that we'll get into as well. We got a top 5 coming up on the show. And some free picks.
Free picks.
I'm going to give you a free pick coming up here in a moment for the future of your baseball betting. I got a free pick for you.
All right.
Lang Whitaker is here.
Hey.
Hello, Lang. How are you?
Good. I'm trying to shake off last night's draft.
Big
We were
night.
here
Big
for a
night of the
long
draft.
time. But it was a big night, yeah. Couldn't go to sleep when I got home. Stayed up till I was up till like 12:30 just watching TV.
Exact same.
Yeah.
Exact same. Threw on the Law and Order SVU reruns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm rewatching. I'm watching The Wire all the way through.
So I've started also. I finished season 1 again, but I haven't started season 2 yet.
I have like 2.5 shows to go. So last night I got to.
Oh, you're in season 5.
Yeah, I
Okay.
got to like the last show and a half last night, and it got to be 12:30, and I was like, I can't do this.
You
anymore.
crashed out, yeah. Great show.
maybe
My favorite
today.
show ever.
Yeah.
I went and had some drinks after the draft.
There you go.
To celebrate. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was
Celebrate.
good.
You got to wind down. You got to wind down.
Had to
weird,
wind
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. John Roser, how are you?
I'm great, Fish.
Good.
Good to see you. That's an elite jersey.
Thank
An
you very
elite
much.
jersey right there.
Nolan,
Yeah.
is it?
It's Nolan Arenado, too.
Oh, Nolan
Yeah,
Arenado.
Nolan Arenado jersey, yeah.
One of the greats.
One of the greats, who's still a Cardinal for some reason. I'm glad he is, though, so it's good.
You have no idea what your team's doing, do you?
Nope, but they're
They're losing
competing.
1-0 right
Hey,
now.
it's why we're fans.
That's why we're fans.
Good times and bad times.
Yep. And the times right now are a little bit better than what we expected for the Cardinals, but still kind of not convinced that they're as good as maybe they're playing. CJ Hurts. Hello, CJ. How are you?
Hello, man. Everything's good over here on this end. How's everybody out there doing?
Doing well, man.
Good.
Doing
Love
really
to hear
well.
it. Love to hear it.
Good
You
to
got
see
you got to watch the draft from home.
Yeah, I got to. If I wanted to, yeah, I could have sat down and watched it. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. How late did you stay awake till?
I went to bed at like 7:40.
So you saw like the first 5-6 picks, or
No, I didn't see any of them. I was in the chat goofing around with you guys, and then, but I had to. So I had it up on my phone to goof around with y'all in the chat, and I was watching something else on the TV, and then I went.
Were
to
you
bed.
doing it? Were you in the chat on your phone or were you on a
the
computer?
phone. On the phone.
Oh, I
I'm
was
getting to
hopeful
the
you
chat.
would be. I was hopeful you would be on a computer and you would have just fallen asleep with your like arm on the keyboard and you would have just been typing
one letter, like
one
K,
letter into the chat all night,
would've been
just
good.
randomly.
That would have been
R.
good.
Well, last night was the NBA draft, first round of this year's NBA draft, and the Memphis Grizzlies made a move, moving up from number 16 up to number 11 to draft Cedric Coward. They get him from the Portland Trailblazers out of Washington State, 6'6", 206 pounds, will be 22 years old in September. Lang,
Yeah.
everybody seems pretty positive about this pick, and the national pundits seem to be very positive about this pick.
Yeah, they do.
So crap on it.
CJ can crap on him.
You've done your research. What do you think about this pick?
He's one of the guys who I don't really know how he's gonna turn out. I mean, all the signs point to him having a great career in the NBA. All the measurables look really good. You know, he had a great college career. The question is, like, how does this all translate against much better talent than he's ever played against? Because, you know, played Division III, played at Eastern Washington, played at Washington State.
For 6 games.
6 games, and that's all we've seen. So you know, he went to the combine and looked really good against all the other guys who are in his class. Duke thought he was going to be an awesome player because they gave him a scholarship. So a lot of other people have kind of bet on him being a great player at this next level. We'll just see if he is. I mean, but everything else about him, you say 6'6", he's got a 7'2" wingspan, shot the heck out of the ball at the combine and in college. The one thing about him was, hey, he's a little older than some of the other players in the draft, but he's been really good at every kind of step along the way. I also love just seeing him talk in the interviews and stuff. You got a good feeling from him.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think he's going to work out. I hope so. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. All right. Roser, I know you guys talked about it on the Chris Vernon show, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the two players that I like the most, that I thought might be in the Grizzlies' range, because once you get the 16th pick, you just start kind of crash coursing a little bit. But the two that I like the most were Cedric Coward and Colin Murray Boyles. And CMB obviously went to Toronto at 9. Cedric Coward, the Grizzlies trade up to 11. Look, I like what I see. I'm not going to sit here and say I know everything about the kid. Everything seems great. I think he's going to be a good player. Do I think he's going to be an all-star or anything? I don't know. But I think he's going to be really good, and he is the guy I would have drafted, and I wanted the Grizzlies to draft based on who was available. The one thing I do know is we don't know everything about how the Grizzlies front office operates. We don't know if they're going to draft a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, or a center. We don't know what they're going to do in free agency, and we don't know what they're going to do in trades in the offseason. But one thing we do know is that when it comes to the NBA draft, whether it has been Brandon Clark, whether it has been Zaire Williams, Jake LaRavia, David Roddy, who else am I missing here? I feel like I may be missing something else. Cedric Coward last night. They identify who they want, and they trade up to go get them.
Kennedy Chandler, didn't they trade up to get him?
Whether or not they hit, whether or not they miss, they identify and they trade up on draft night.
Mm-hmm. It was
Those are just...
They have conviction about it, and I like that. I like the fact that they have a conviction about who they want.
Yeah. CJ, all right, so what was your reaction when you woke up this morning and found out?
All right. Go do it. If you like him, go get him. I'm with you, Roser.
Yeah.
There's a player you like, go up and get him. And I like the Grizzlies always being willing to go up in the draft and get the player they want. For this moment, I'll let everybody be high on hope, and I'll defer to people much smarter about this sort of thing than what I am. Because you tell me there's a dude who who only played 6 games last year, his first year playing high major college basketball, and he was out all year with a shoulder injury, and he's not really going to be able to do much in the summer, right? Like, he's not going to be at Summer League,
He said that he's good to go. But the Grizzly, he said he has to get medically cleared, but he said his shoulder is fine now.
Okay, so, let them clear him medically, and let's see him go through an off-season of training, conditioning, and getting accustomed to playing at this speed.
Yeah.
You brought it up, Lang. This is the highest level of competition he's ever faced. It'll be the same for everybody. But the leap he's making from Eastern Washington State will claim him because he played 6 games and he won in the lottery. But he's Eastern Washington, right? He played at Eastern Washington. The leap he's going to make from the competition there to here, I'm curious to see what it will all look like for him. Now, I will say, we just saw finals. I brought this up on Jessica's show, where on both of those teams combined, 8, 9, 10 of those players are just 3-and-D dudes. You can't have enough 3-and-D.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me you think this dude can go out there and be a good defender and a knockdown 3-point shooter, you can't have enough of those. So go ahead and take them and let the chips fall where they may.
Also, a lot of those guys, when you think about it, weren't guys from like major basketball programs in college. You know, I don't even know where'd Caruso go to college. I don't
Texas
even know.
A&M,
What about Lou Dort?
Arizona State,
Major.
What about Nemhard?
Gonzaga,
What about John Morant?
Murray State.
How many games did John Morant play at Murray State?
Tyrese Halliburton.
And Ja busted
Iowa
out
State.
in the Tyrese Halliburton, Iowa
Job
State.
busted out in the tournament.
Yeah, Ja in the tournament was
But how many games did John Morant play at Murray State?
a lot.
3 seasons,
Okay.
right?
2
Yeah.
years. Played 2
2
years
years.
there. Yeah, 2 years.
Ja coming in, did he have a shoulder issue coming in? Did
No.
he miss
I don't think
the-
so.
did
He
the-
missed Summer League. He did not play Summer League.
Okay.
He had an injury that kept him out of Summer League, though. He did not play Summer League.
All right. Well,
Brandon Clark won MVP of Summer League. The Grizzlies
That's right,
won
yeah.
Summer League
That's
that
right,
year.
yeah.
Ja did not play, and Brandon Clark was MVP of Summer League in 2019.
Who they traded up to get
Yeah,
at the bottom
who
of
they
the first
traded up
round.
to get.
Yeah.
I
They have conviction.
kind of feel like you, CJ, in both ways. One, I think you're right, Roser. When the team shows that conviction to go get a guy that they identify, I like that. I'd hate for the team to say, we missed our guy.
It's because
We missed our guy.
It's when you do it and go get Brandon Clark, when you do it and go get Desmond Bain, when you do it and go get Santi Aldama, those are hits and they're awesome. When you do it and go get Zaire Williams, you do it and go get David Roddy or Jake LaRavia, you don't feel the same way about it. You're like, oh, what do we do that for? But I like the fact that they're confident in what they're doing and they show conviction
on
about
the
it.
misses, they moved off of him pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to bat 1,000 doing
No.
this.
Well, a bunch of the other teams are kind of getting batted around for having conviction about guys that nobody else had conviction about.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, the Portland trading back to and taking Yong Han-Soo in the halfway through the first round, and everybody's like, who? Like,
But if
what?
he really is Chinese Jokic or Chinese Marc Gasol,
Apparently,
it's going to be an awesome pick.
I read
you know?
one thing that they felt they had to take him at 16 because the Nets were drafting at 19, and the Nets owner is Joe Tsai, and they thought that he might be interested in trying to get
Oh, yeah,
somebody from
I
China
get
for that
that.
team. So they felt like they couldn't wait and draft him later in the draft. But also, like, he was their guy. Like, that was the guy they had identified and they wanted. So I get it. Like, look, I used to run the drafts when we had those Grizz gaming drafts every, like, January. And it would always be like you'd figure out who you wanted, and you kind of just talk yourself into being like, oh, you know what? It's okay if we draft them 2 rounds higher than people think, or we draft somebody later than people don't think, because it's what we want, right? It's, you want to get your guys, and you go get them, and you identify your guys. So for a team like the Blazers to draft this guy, or the Pelicans to trade a future first next year, unprotected, to go up and get Derek Queen. If you're that team, you have to have conviction. You have to say, this is what we want to do.
And then it's just a matter of whether you're right or
You
wrong.
just got to hope
Yep.
you're right.
And
yeah.
if you're wrong more than you're right, you lose your job.
Yep.
I mean, that's the business of the NBA.
Yeah, but I'm with you on the Trailblazers thing. I'm with everybody on the Grizzlies thing. Move up to get the guy you want. Has to be a piece that fits and makes sense. What the Pelicans did moving up to get Queen, that's a piece that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'd love for somebody who feels differently to explain to me how that makes sense. He's not a stretch big. He's not a rim protecting big. He's somebody who does a lot of his damage, all of his damage on the offensive end, inside of the paint. You got Zion. Guess what? He's not. He's not a stretch big. Guess where he does all his damage at offensively? On the inside, in the paint. So you got 2 dudes who do who work in the same area. Like, why would I do anything defensively other than pack the paint against the Pelicans and run 2 dudes at Zion and say, all right, let's see what happens next. Right? Like that's just a piece that doesn't make sense. And then you move up to take the piece that doesn't make sense, and you give up the best of the pick between the Bucks, who knows what they're going to be. Let's say the Bucks are a playoff caliber team. You might not be. You're probably not going to be a playoff caliber team, New Orleans. You'll probably find yourself in the lottery again. And not drafting, but when the ping pong balls come out, you'll probably be one of the teams with the best chance for the number 1 overall pick in next year's draft. And you just traded that away to move up to take a piece that doesn't fit what you're built around. I don't understand that. I understand what the Grizzlies did. You cannot have enough 3-and-D wings. What the Pelicans are doing, I have no clue. It doesn't make sense to me. Unless they're like, all right, we're done with Zion. Let's move off of him.
That's what I was going to. There were rumors already that Joe Dumars is taking over there, that nothing is off the table for New Orleans, and that's how I look at this. Last year they have a promising big man rookie in Yves Missi. Like you can see the talent there with him. So you draft Derek Queen. To me, the next step is you've got to find a trade partner for Zion. I don't know what the offers are going to be. I don't know what you're going to be able to get for him. Probably not as much as you want, because there's
nothing.
There's a lot of injury history there, and Zion's got a very, very big contract. New Orleans also a tax team. That restricts on certain moves that you're able to do in trades also. So, but that to me seems the next logical step for New Orleans. They're going to try to find some place for Zion.
Our old buddy John Hollinger wrote a thing today in The Athletic about the Pelicans draft, basically. Joe Dumars just took over as their GM. The assistant GM's Troy Weaver, who used to be the Pistons and is from the D.C. area and has this kind of habit every team he's been at of just trying to get guys from the D.C. area. Derek Queen from Baltimore, another guy from the D.C. area, so he went after him. Sadiq Bey has been on every team that Troy Weaver has been part of, and he just traded for Sadiq Bey. Here's a tweet I saw there. I read this to Fish earlier. Over the last year, the Pelicans have turned Dyson Daniels, Larry Nance Jr., Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum, 2025 first-round pick, 2026 first-round pick, 2026 first-round pick, 2027 first-round pick, into DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and Derek Queen.
Yeah, that's hustling backwards. That's just awful.
Yes.
That's atrocious.
Yeah, that's
brutal.
Yeah, that's
The first response on here is, my God.
yeah. That's like trying to ride a bike in sand. Like like what are we doing here?
Yeah, that is brutal. All right, we'll talk a lot more draft coming up in our next segment. There was a couple of big baseball games yesterday. One of them took place in Milwaukee as the Brewers took on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Paul Skeens, who's always a must-watch, he pitched for the Pirates against Jacob Misiorowski, who improved to 3-0 on the season, beating Skeens, striking out 8 in 5 innings. Skeens only lasted 4 innings, giving up 4 earned runs, striking out 4. Jacob Misiorowski, in his three career starts, he went 5 innings of no-hit ball against the Cardinals. He went 6 innings, gave up 1 hit. It was a 2-run home run against Minnesota. And then yesterday, just 2 hits against Pittsburgh. So he's given up 3 hits, 2 runs, and he has struck out 19 in the 3 games that he has pitched. So what I'm telling you is Jacob Misiorowski right now, you got to jump on board now. This guy is something special.
Rookie of the year? What do you think?
Could be. I mean, the way that he's pitched 3 games, and we're still early enough in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, Skeens won it last year with
half a season
starting at this point. But this guy, he throws 100. He threw 12 pitches over 100 miles an hour yesterday.
I was watching this
12.
game. I was home doing last-minute draft prep, and I had this game on in the background. And he had to pitch to O'Neal Cruz, who's an otherworldly hitter on the Pirates. And he got 2 strikes on me, threw a 102-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside corner, and Cruz just watched it, kind of shook his head and sat down. Like, this dude has a level that we don't see. Like, you never see people throw it that hard.
I mean, a left-hander who throws 100 miles an hour and has
100
accuracy,
plus.
100 plus, and has paint accuracy.
And he has like other pitches too. Like he has a slider, he has an off-speed like changeup or curve. I don't know what it is, but he can throw other things at you too.
So he's a guy now, when he's on the bump for Milwaukee, it's like Roser's Yankees and Judge to homer. You take the Brewers and Misiorowski to have the over in strikeouts.
Okay.
I mean,
let's parlay those.
We're parlaying. Oh, and
Strikeouts, Brewers win. Judge, homer, Yankees win. I think we could build some money there.
That's a nice little parlay that we just
Good
put
way to
together.
build our war chest for football.
Yeah.
Shout out, Rain Man.
Yeah, absolutely. Another big game last night was the Texas Rangers and the Baltimore Orioles. Jacob deGrom went 7 no-hit innings before losing his no-hitter in the bottom of the 8th inning, giving up his first hit. The longest no-hit effort for Jacob deGrom in his career as the Rangers won the game 7-0. He has been amazing. He's 8-2 now on the season, and he's given up 2 or fewer runs, I think, in like 10 straight starts now after yesterday.
You know who could use a pitcher like him? The Mets.
Yeah, they really could use a guy like him.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Jacob deGrom's back to being awesome again after the injuries he battled.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, it happens with them, and some of them they don't really ever figure it out, but some do. But they come out and they throw heat, and they're awesome at it, and the pitches are all working like crazy. And then they suffer the injuries, and they go through a couple years of injuries, and you realize, I can't just throw like this anymore. You really have to learn how to pitch, and you've got to change how you pitch. And it's about off speed and location and things like that. And some guys figure it out, and some guys don't. Tim Lincecum is one. Always like the San Francisco Giants, won back-to-back Cy Youngs, just throwing gas, and then went through the injuries and just never could really figure it out after that. Like, you've got to really learn how to pitch and throw more off-speed stuff. You're just arm ain't going to let you throw that
They have
hard
the Mets have a guy now. Is it Peterson who used to throw gas, had injuries, and now he's kind of a junk baller, but he's awesome. He's been like one of their best pitchers this year because he's figured out how to do it, how to mix it up and change locations.
The same way. It's the same way in basketball too. You'll see guys like, I mean, a guy like, it happens even as you just age as a player. Sometimes injuries happen.
I think about Grant Hill.
Hill
coming in so athletic and everything, and then
Vince Carter. Like, you see
career.
with these guys where they have to learn. It's like, I was used to being awesome and an all NBA player, and injuries have happened, or I've just aged, and I've got to reinvent myself. Some guys figure it out. Some
I
don't.
talked about it with Grant Hill one time, and he was saying, like, the older you get, he goes, it becomes like chess. And it's all positioning, and it's just being in the right place at the right time. You're not going to out-jump anybody. You're not going to outrun anybody. But the older he got, the more the game slowed down for him, and he was able to know, all right, I need to be right here, right now, and just being in your spot on time in the right place. And guys like Vince Carter, T-Mac was like that later in his career. Guys who go through all those injuries are able to kind of figure that out. Some of them are, some aren't.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. We'll take a break here on The Odds Couple. When we come back, we'll talk more about the first round of the NBA draft. We'll do that when we return. We got our top 5 coming up a little bit later on, and free picks at the end of the show. That's all ahead here on The Odds Couple on Grind City Media.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
To get to the main event. And you hear the crowd. There's some rumblings in the crowd.
Here we go.
They say, we want truth.
I love how John Cena said when they were chanting, we want truth. You can't handle the truth.
There you go.
I loved it.
He takes the knee off, boom. Takes the mask off, boom. And it's our freaking truth. God, man, he cost John Cena the match.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
These are the Jordan 1, the crystals. These are the shoe that retails for $1,000. Oh, extra crystals. So if your crystals fall off, if your crystals fall off, actually these are the black crystals because they have. So the shoe has black crystals on there as well too. So you get an extra package of black crystals.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Welcome back to The Odds Couple on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Here's Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker.
Welcome back, everybody.
Nope.
This is the Odds Couple here on Grind City Media. Welcome back to the program. We are going to talk a little more NBA draft as the first round of the draft happened last night, and round 2 will happen tonight at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. The Grizzlies, as we talked about a little earlier, they got Cedric Coward at number 11, but around the draft, the number 1 pick was very obvious. The number 1 pick was Cooper Flagg as he goes to the Dallas Mavericks. What impresses you the most about Cooper Flagg?
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking about him with somebody who was at the USA basketball practices where he was so good, and they compared him to Andrei Kirilenko. You know, he's not a guy who's going to average 30 points a game, but he might average 26, 6, and have 3 steals and 3 blocks a game. And I think he ends up in a great situation for him where he's not going to be asked to come in and give you 25 points a night. Well, he might for the first few months until Kyrie gets back. But, I mean, he'll have Anthony Davis. He'll have Kyrie Irving. He'll have players around him. So he'll be able to kind of just be a really, really good complementary piece. The thing everyone raves about with him is his drive and just like constant. He just goes full speed all the time. Like he doesn't take any plays off, and he's got size. He's got everything else. Crazy part also is that he's the youngest player in the draft. You know, because he reclassified. He's supposed to be a college freshman this year, so he jumped up a year, and he's the youngest kid in the draft, and is probably the best player in the draft by far.
What do you think of Cooper Flagg, Roser?
Well, I think if
Fan?
Nico Harrison was really bold, he would have traded down to see if he could still get his guy. But he didn't want to do that.
The guy from China.
I think he's awesome. I think Cooper Flagg is absolutely awesome. I think he's going to be as long as, you got to stay healthy. Injuries are a real thing. We've seen them a ton in the NBA. But as long as that kid stays healthy, I think you're looking at a 10-time All-Star. Is he going to win an MVP? Sure, let's say he wins an MVP. I think you're looking at that level of talent with Cooper Flagg.
Every time I watched him, I was impressed.
Yeah.
I never watched and wasn't impressed.
I would have
by
traded
his
every player on our roster for him. I'm not kidding. I would have traded
good.
every player we have for him.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Every player.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Everyone. Jaron's the only one I had to kind of think about. But if I just said I think Cooper Flagg's going to be an MVP, yeah, I don't think Jaron's going to be MVP. But I love Jaron.
Yeah.
But yes, I would have traded every player on our roster for Cooper Flagg.
Wow. CJ?
I really wanted to dislike this dude, and I couldn't find a reason to. He's phenomenal.
You want to hate the white kid from Duke.
I want to hate the white hooper from
gonna say-
Duke.
We all want to.
Everybody, is that not a thing? We all want to hate the white hooper from Duke.
I still hate J.J. Redick.
Come on, man.
I still hate Steve Wojciechowski. And I had to watch him coach in the
Man.
G League last year, and I'm looking at him and I'm going, I still hate that guy.
What about Bobby Hurley?
Hated him.
Hated him.
Christian Leitner.
Of
Hated
course,
him.
obviously hated Christian
Greg
Leitner.
Paulus.
Christian Leitner is the whole reason why
Danny
I want to
Ferry.
hate the white
Danny
dude from
Ferry.
Duke.
Yeah.
Dunleavy?
Mike Dunleavy.
Dunleavy?
Jay
Oh.
Billis. Jay Billis. You want to go real old school? Jay
That's
Billis.
very old school.
Mark
Jay
Hallery
Billis.
back in the day. Like they
Did we
had
say
a
Grayson already?
Nope. We
Grayson
haven't said
Allen just
Yeah.
wanted and just didn't have a reason to.
He's not half
Cooper
white.
Flagg.
Shane Battier. Oh, I hated him. Hated
Which,
him.
You hated
dude.
the white half or the black half?
Chris Collins.
The white half.
Okay.
Because he
Just
took
want-
the charges.
Just wanted to make sure.
The ones who took the charges.
White people are the ones who
Oh,
take
what about the
charges.
Plumlees?
You almost tried
Oh,
to
of course, Plumlees.
Yeah,
I
the
hated
Plumlees.
those dudes.
Kyle Singler.
Oh, Singler. I
Oh,
hated
man.
Singler. I wanted to hate Cooper.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
Just a delight to watch play
Filipowski.
basketball. Of course, hated Filipowski.
Yeah.
Hated him. Cooper Flagg is because he's so, to Lane's point, he's so versatile. That's something easy to build around because he's giving you a lot of different things. He fits with anything, right? So you just have to figure out the style of play you want, and then you can go out there and get those pieces. You don't have to, he's not going to dictate the playing style, right? Because he can do some of everything. He'll be good defensively, he'll be good offensively, he'll be great in transition, he'll finish around the rim, he'll be a rim deterrent, right? Like Cooper Flagg is really, really good. I look forward to watching him throughout his NBA career.
Yeah, he is really good. He goes to the Dallas Mavericks with the number 1 pick.
Wait, did we say John Shire? Somebody in the chat said John Shire.
Yeah, I don't like him
Okay.
either.
We forgot
Yeah.
him.
All right.
He's
Yeah.
still there.
Yeah, he's still there. One of the storylines of the night was about Ace Bailey and where he was going to end up, and he ends up going to the Utah Jazz. Jazz got him, and then they got Clayton Jr. as well later in the draft from Florida. Do you like what they got in these 2 picks?
I don't know. I give him a TBD. I mean, Ace Bailey was, going into this season, talked about along with Cooper Flagg as like one of these transformational players. And then Rutgers had such a disappointing season. And a big part of that, Gary Parrish and I talked about this on the series we did, but was that other than those 2 guys, Rutgers had nothing. Like it was like 2 and then everyone else. So they didn't really have much help. But watch the clip of it's on Twitter. The clip of Ace Bailey playing against Northwestern. And he scores 36 points and dribbles the ball 10 times the whole game. it's remarkable. Like he just catch, jab step, shot. He can get a shot over most players because he's tall. Everybody thought he was going to be like 6'11", but he ended up measuring 6'7" at the combine. So 6'8" with shoes, whatever. But he can shoot over most everyone. He can get to his spots, make his shots. Great offensive player. All this like goofiness around the draft, like that's what's hurt him more than anything is, turning down interviews with everybody and the agent allegedly asking for money to do interviews and all this kind of weird stuff that happened. But if you judge him as and people said he wasn't quite locked in during the interviews he did do at the combine and other stuff. But if you judge him just as a basketball player, he's pretty great. I don't know which version of that you get in Utah, though.
Yeah, I've heard about him that, why didn't he work out? There were thoughts that he had a promise or whatever. He clearly did not have a promise, or at least maybe he did, but the team he had the promise from could not get up there to get him before Utah did. But the thought is, I said, if you see this kid, if he would have worked out for teams, so the teams would have been impressed because you're going to watch the kid work out and you're going to be like, holy crap, that's Tracy McGrady. Like, that's like what you're going to think when you watch him work out. We'll see how it pans out. He clearly was not happy to go to Utah last night, but what's he going to do? Not play? Like,
I
not
thought
play
he
for
was
the
trying to
Jazz?
get to New Orleans. Like, that was kind of what
You thought New Orleans?
Yeah, like New Orleans was getting mentioned a lot as a team he was trying to get to, or Washington.
Washington, I saw Washington and Brooklyn.
Yeah,
but
Washington was
New
weird
Orleans
to me.
is interesting too.
Because if you're trying to get yourself to a more advantageous situation, why would you go to the Wizards?
Right.
Of all the teams, like why wouldn't you want to go to a team that has a chance of being good sooner than that, or go to Philly?
You care about being the number one guy who gets to take as many shots.
That's
as
what
you
it must.
want.
Like, that's what it feels like it must be, and that's kind of what gives you a little bit of scare around him.
Yeah. While they drafted, you mentioned Brooklyn, him wanting to go to Brooklyn, he would have not a lot of space because there are about 40 people on their roster right now
point guards.
after they drafted 5 people last night.
Three of them point guards.
Did they do anything good?
No,
No?
I don't think so.
It's almost like
I think Danny Wolf is a good pick.
Because he
Didn't
went to
go?
Michigan.
But I mean, that's a one yes. But that's a 7-footer who you can put in pick and rolls as a ball handler, not as the screener, as a ball handler, and that's somebody who can run your offense through and be a facilitator to take some of the pressure off of your traditional, conventional.
The problem is
point guard.
they drafted a point guard who's the same height as Danny Wolf, Jaeger Dimon, the guy from BYU, who's 6'8", who can't shoot.
Danny Wolf is 7 feet. They're not the same height.
Close enough. I'm being not quite literal.
Gotcha.
But they drafted this huge point guard, and then they draft who else did they get? Nolan Traore, a point guard from France. They also drafted Ben Saraf, a point guard or a guard from Israel. So they drafted a bunch of guards, and then they also got didn't they get Drake Powell? Yeah, from UNC, who's like a wing player. Danny Wolf. I don't know. It's just like at this point, what are they doing? Like what's the point? Like, what are they supposed to be good next year?
Yeah.
No.
Because they were they weren't terrible this year. Didn't they beat the Grizzlies twice this year?
Yeah.
Like they were not terrible this year because they had this whole roster of guys you never heard of, and they played really hard every night.
I think the hope is you hit on one of those point guards, and then if you hit on one of those point guards, and then you hit on either the perimeter player on Danny Wolf, you're like, okay, we had a good draft. Yeah. We hit on 3 guys.
If Denman can shoot,
guys.
like that's awesome. To find a 6'8" point guard, like a real point guard who can pass and control an offense and run it, who's 6'8", and if you could get him to shoot,
right,
like that changes everything. But I think he shot 25% on threes last year at BYU.
Even if you don't get him to shoot, right? Ben Simmons, it was that. Yeah. Still can't shoot, couldn't shoot. But Ben Simmons, before Philadelphia ruined him mentally, Ben Simmons was an all-NBA type of guy. Ben Simmons was an all-NBA defensive selection, too. Like, Ben Simmons was able to impact the game, even though he was a bigger point guard who couldn't shoot. And so, yes, if ideally, you'd want that dude to be able to hit shots. But if he's not, he still has some value with that size being out there on the court.
One team that you kind of mentioned it was interesting last night when they selected McNeely was Charlotte, getting Con Knippel and McNeely, a couple guys that they'll get an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
it gives you two wings who can really, really shoot the ball. Like maybe two of the best shooters in the draft. McNeely was kind of disappointing last year at UConn because he had an ankle injury the whole year and didn't really have the ability to play like he's best playing. There's the stat with him that I can't forget about is that he, on catch and shoot 3-pointers where he was open, he hit 50% of his threes last year at UConn. Like he's a legit shooter. He wasn't as good off the dribble, but he was hurt like most of the year. He also played at that Montverde with Asa Newell and Cooper Flagg in high school. Like it was like a stacked team. He's great. Knipple, the question with him is like defensively, but everything else is so good with him. He's a good playmaker. He's a scorer, not just a 3-point shooter. Like he can score from all over the court. So it gives them two guys who, you know, if that dude's a knockdown 3-point shooter, McNeely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's put him next to LaMelo Ball. He's going to get wide open 3-point looks, you know, and Knipple should get some too. And Brandon Miller's there too. Like they have an interesting group of young guys. I guess the Mark Williams thing is kind of weird. Like Mark Williams was good for them after the Lakers flunked his physical on that trade.
Right.
He was pretty good the last month and a half of the season, but now they trade him away. So there's still questions on that roster. And to me, they're still 2 years away from
Being 2 years
something.
away.
Yeah. Maybe 2 years away from being 1 year away.
Yeah. One other team I wanted to ask you about, because we're always concerned about them because they seem to be really smart, is the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
They got Dylan Harper. They got Carter Bryant.
So Dylan Harper and Brevin and I talked about this on the show. Like, I went to the EYBL a couple of weeks ago and I saw like how all those kids were like just the best athletes and incredible athletes, but none of them really had like a feel for basketball. And Dylan Harper has a feel for basketball. He's good. He can control your offense, slow things down, speed it up, feed the guys who get hot, and he can score. Like he can, you know, be your main option too. Just a really, really, really good all-around player. He was going to be the number 2 pick no matter who had that pick, and he's good enough that San Antonio has the Rookie of the Year and De'Aaron Fox and still drafted the guy who plays that position, right? With that other pick, Carter Bryant was the guy who Gary was super high on. Gary had him going like top 8 in his draft. I was always looked at his numbers, and like at Arizona last year, he averaged like 4 points a game and 2 rebounds, like not great.
Right.
Anything that was exciting, but he's a good shooter, and everyone just looks at him, and it's kind of like the measurables with him. Like everything about him just projects as being an awesome 3-and-D guy. And, you know, like we say, you can't have too many 3-and-D guys.
Yeah, I think San Antonio, it's super interesting now because, as you said, like they draft Dylan Harper, but they have De'Aaron Fox, and they traded for De'Aaron Fox midway through last season. So, and now you drafted a point guard number 2. So what happens there? And then the other one, Carter Bryant. I'm with you. I watched him and I go, okay. I mean, I get why I get it. You see, he's freaking 6'9". He's long. He's athletic. Like you see it, but then I watch it and I'm like, I don't know. Like so because you see 6 points or 4 points, 6 points in 20 minutes a game, and he feels like somebody you're going to be waiting 4 to 5 years on.
Right. All right. Biggest surprise of the draft.
I think well, I was gonna say the Pelicans and what they did, but I'd probably Portland drafting the Chinese kid at 16. Like, I looked at so many mock drafts the last 2-3 weeks. I never saw that guy's name in the top 40 picks in any of the mock drafts. I saw some people mention him as like a draft and stash guy, maybe late in the second round. I mean, I was watching the clips of him this morning because he played in Summer League last summer. The Chinese team played against somebody in the Summer League. And there's some clips of him. I think it was Charlotte they played. There's clips of him like scoring some buckets and doing stuff. And they're down like 40 every time. If you look at the score on there, like, all right, well, you know, that's kind of maybe why he's able to do what he wants to do. So, I mean, you talk about Cedric Howard having to level up and play against better competition.
Right.
Like, this is going to be, I think, a big example of that. He does look smooth. He looks great when he's doing stuff. But, like, I mean, that's a guy who I don't think anybody had him in the first round, much less midway through the first round.
To a team that's got a big.
To a team that has a big, like, there's a lot of questions with that.
Yeah.
Chauncey Billups is gonna hate him.
I don't know.
It's not.
I can't imagine you make that pick without Chauncey like
I
signing
would.
off
You
on
would
it.
think so. You would
Yeah.
think so.
Who would you pick someone for biggest bust?
Maybe him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I haven't seen that much of him. It's like, who knows? You know, I'm looking through these names. I mean, the Clippers drafted that guy Niederhauser with the last pick in the first round. So, I mean, does that count as a bust?
No.
Yeah. Going up the top of the draft. I mean, Malowacz is interesting because he's 7'1", and he was the 10th pick in the first round, but he's not an offensive player really, and he's still a developing player. You know, the bet with him is you get him into your system, he develops into something that's impactful. But he's still pretty like young and raw, and he's on a team that's not very good, that has a lot of guys who kind of have the same skill set as him, long, athletic players. Like, how does he separate himself from all those other players?
I would say, and I don't know if he will be, but just based on where he's drafted, I'll say VJ Edgecombe, and it's just, I know apparently the kid works his butt off. Everybody loves him, but I think everybody says that about their draft picks, and and to justify drafting him. But Baylor players have not. Baylor's had a lot of success in college basketball, and they've had a lot of pro prospects, but they haven't had a lot of those pros be awesome pros. And when you draft somebody number 3 overall, I think you're expecting to get. Hey, hopefully we drafted a future all-star here, but that kind of hasn't happened with a lot of the Baylor players. They do have some solid players in the league, but they don't really have those,
I don't think-
high-level
I think
all-star,
with,
all-NBA guys, and that you're expecting from the number 3 overall pick.
I don't think Edgecombe's ceiling is as an all-star type player. You know what I mean? I think like he could be maybe the high part of that ceiling would be like a Jaylen Brown type player, not like an offense first player,
Yeah.
but a guy who's just an incredible athlete who can do everything else. But I think you're hoping he becomes more of a really good Lou Dort type player,
Yeah.
a really good Caruso. He's a great physical player. Of all the players who, like, we got highlights for all these different
Yeah.
guys, like Darnell got them sent in from all the different schools. The Edgecombe highlights were the best.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
he's
by far the
the highlights
most amazing.
are
yes. So
yes.
maybe in the NBA, like if you go to a Philly team that has veteran players around him, he doesn't have to score 20 a game.
No, and you do get to go. You do get to kind of ease your way in because you've got Tyrese Maxey, you've got Jared McCain.
You might have Embiid.
It might have
Who
been Paul
knows?
George is
Yeah.
there. Like you,
He just can get out and play defense and get out on the
Yes.
break, and that's 10 points a game right there.
Yeah.
And then anything on top of that, like I think it's helpful. Did you see the interview with him, like after the draft, Edgecombe, where he was talking about he grew up in, I believe, the Bahamas.
Yeah.
He was talking about they didn't have electricity for 7 years. Like they lived with a generator for 7 years. And he was talking about his mom, and he was in tears, talking about he was like, nobody's gonna work harder than me because of what I've been through to get to this point. And I was like, all right, dude, like that. All right, I'm in on you. Like,
Yeah.
So.
Other than Cooper Flagg, who can win Rookie of the Year?
Ace Bailey, Trey
Yeah.
Johnson.
I was gonna say Ace Bailey. I like the idea of Jeremiah Fears. I like the idea of Fears, but I don't know what the hell New Orleans is doing, so I can't do that.
He's gonna have
If
to
the
share
Spurs
the ball.
trade De'Aaron Fox, then Dylan Harper, because you're gonna have a lot of eyes on you because you got Wemby. You're gonna have a lot of eyes on you. But if they don't trade De'Aaron Fox, not him. Yeah, I think Ace Bailey.
I always think it's easiest for a point guard to win Rookie of the Year. I don't even know if that's true or not, but it just seems like you have the most usage.
Balls
And,
in your
yeah,
hand.
and people are watching you. You're in the highlights, all that. Like, I think for Dylan Harper, but the question with him is like the Spurs, right? Like he's got all these great players around him. How much is he going to be asked to do? How much is he going to do? I think Ace Bailey and Trey Johnson are going to be like, they're going to
Yeah.
give them the ball and be like, just go, do whatever you want. Trey Johnson's an incredible scorer. Can't really do much of anything else. So, maybe that's good for Washington. Let everybody else do everything else and just tell Trey Johnson go get buckets.
Yeah.
Igor, if he's an awesome passer.
Yegor.
Yegor, whatever.
I know you like saying Igor.
Yeah, that drives me nuts. Yeah. Yegor. Yegor Dimon. I mean, he goes down a notch, being Yegor, not Igor. Yegor, because there's no Y.
What if his
in
last
there,
name
so
was
what are we
Demon?
doing? What are we doing here? Right?
That would
right?
be amazing. Igor Demon.
Maybe him. He's an amazing. I mean, he is a great passer. Like you watch
Yeah.
his film, and he's not a good shooter, but like man, that guy can go around a pick and roll, and he can dish the ball.
The other guy who's a great passer is Yakushionis, the kid from Illinois.
Yeah.
Who dropped. Everybody had him as a lottery pick, and he's not a good shooter, and he ended up dropping to Miami.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a lot of like ball handler, facilitator types. Like, I don't know, maybe he's worth a flyer on as a possible rookie of the year.
Goran Dragic.
Yeah.
All right, how about some fish nuggets? Yep, we got some
I would
NBA
love some
draft nuggets here today. Cooper Flagg is not only the first pick of the NBA draft, he's the first white American #1 NBA draft pick since Kent Benson in 1977.
Congratulations, Roser.
Wow.
Are you not white? Congratulations to everybody on the desk, man. Big day.
Yeah.
Big day for the whites.
It is big day for us.
Big day for the whites.
Now, if
Yeah,
only
you
Kate,
know, in my lifetime, let this sink in. I saw a black president twice. I'd never seen a white American drafted #1 overall until Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg, Barack Obama, they're shaking hands right now. It's good stuff.
How about that?
Now, only we could be rolling if Caitlin Clark could ever hit a shot again.
She's
Ever
out.
again.
She's injured. She's
She's
your
hurt
list.
Oh, she got hurt?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's hurt again.
Man, is the hammy again?
Groin.
No,
I
the
think.
groin.
Groin, yeah.
And then they just had to get rid of DeWanna Bonner, right? Like they
Well, they didn't get rid of her. DeWanna Bonner said, "Yo, I'm out.
yeah,
I
well,
don't
they
want
had
to play
to, they had to
anymore."
cut her. They didn't even like get
Yeah.
it right. They didn't trade her, so like the ship be sinking. It feels like in Indiana.
Wow.
All right, back to the Nuggets. 4 freshmen have won the Naismith Award. 2 of them will be teammates this fall in Dallas. Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg. How about that? In the
Who are the other ones? Zion?
I don't know. Zion and Kevin Durant. How about that?
Thank you, Jalen.
In the common era of the NBA draft, Duke has had the most first overall picks with 5, followed by Kentucky, who had 3. Blue Devils' #1 selections: Elton Brand, Kyrie Irving, Zion Williamson, Paolo Banchero, and Cooper Flagg.
Kyrie played 8 games. Shout out Duke.
You ready for this one?
Yep.
The last 4 lottery pick rookies for the 76ers: Jahlil Okafor, Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, and now VJ Edgecombe. You
The
could
worst
be onto
is
something,
the,
Roser.
okay. The worst of those is Markelle Fultz. All right, because I'll defend the Okafor. The league just went the wrong way on him. Like Okafor is a good player. The league just went total pace and space.
He torched the
Out of
Grizzlies
nowhere.
one year when he was on the Pelicans on
Yeah.
MLK Day. Here, he came in and had like a huge game.
So, like the league just went the wrong way. Dude, Ben Simmons was awesome.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons was an all-NBA player, an all-star. Absolutely made a couple of all-star teams and made all-NBA.
Did the league go the wrong way on him by requiring people to shoot the ball?
No. And Ben Simmons is not good anymore, not because he can't shoot or doesn't shoot. It's because he's had 5 back surgeries. Like, that's why he's not good anymore. It's like, dude, he's had 5 back surgeries. Markelle Fultz, that's the worst one because...
He had surgeries too.
Well, the reason Markelle Fultz is he got the yips. The other reason is the Boston Celtics had the #1 pick in that draft, and they wanted Jason Tatum. And they said, you know what? Philly wants #1 because they want to take Markelle Fultz. So we can do this trade. We'll get another unprotected Sacramento Kings pick from them. We'll trade down to 3. The Sixers will go up to 1. They'll take Markelle Fultz. The Lakers are taking Lonzo Ball #2. And we're still going to get the best player in the draft in Jason Tatum at #3. That's what's rough about that one. We'll see about Edgecombe.
All right. Next, 2 Rutgers players selected in the first 5 at the NBA draft. They're the 2 highest picks in Rutgers history. In 1979, James Bailey was the #6 overall pick. This is the first NBA draft all time to have 2 pair of college teammates be drafted within the top 5. Oh. Yeah.
This is still weird to me, though. Like, I get what you're saying. They didn't have any other players
no,
around.
I
But
agree,
it's
too.
but it's basketball.
That
Bro,
was-
if 2 of your 5 are that awesome,
Yeah.
like, dude, you should be.
I mean, like Duke went to the
You
Final
should not
Four,
totally
right?
You
Yeah.
should not totally suck. Like you should not suck.
That was I kind of Gary and I talked about this on this thing we did because I was pushing him on it because I was like hey, it's unbelievable to me,
Right.
And it's not like you're playing in the ACC,
Right.
I mean, you're not playing against the 1990s ACC where it was like all the best teams in the country,
Right.
You know, Rutgers. You're playing what are they, the Big East now, or what are they?
They're the Big Ten.
So you're playing okay schools, but then you have games you should win, or at
You
least
have
be
games you
competitive.
should. There's
Yeah.
enough teams in these big conferences.
What'd they
you have-
finish, 14
They
and
were not. They were
16?
not in the SEC.
No.
They were not in the SEC.
Well, it means more there.
It just means
Yeah, I don't see how you have 2 top 5 picks and your team is that bad.
yeah.
That's either a red flag for those players or that's a red flag for their coach.
Gary's thing was their roster was awful. He was like they had 2
They spent
amazing
all of their
players.
money
yeah,
on
they
2
did.
awesome
They spent
players.
all their money on 2 awesome players and then had nothing for anybody else.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Jeremiah Fears is the 4th Oklahoma player to be selected in the top 10 in the last 20 years. Buddy Hield, Blake Griffin, Trae Young.
Look, they're all good players.
Yeah.
Just means more.
Blake and Trae, how would you rank those? Blake Griffin better than Trae Young,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Blake Griffin number 1, Trae Young 2, Buddy Hield 3. But they're all good players.
Yeah. All right. Next up, the last NBA All-Star that North Carolina produced was Vince Carter.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Because they've won 3 national championships since then, too. Never an all-star.
Yeah.
Marvin Williams, former Grizz Ed Davis, Tyler Hansbrough, Ty Lawson, Raymond Felton, Rashad
Cota.
McCants, Sean May. I loved Ed Cota.
Jeff McInnes.
Ed Cota. Who was on that last team? Theo Pinson
Yeah.
was on
The
that
dude
last
on the
title team.
Hustle.
Larry Drew. Armando wasn't on the title team. They lost in the title game to Kansas.
Yeah.
The one Armando Baycott was on. That was RJ Davis, Caleb Love was on those teams. Yeah.
All right.
Damn, that's crazy.
Well, there you go. That's going to be it. We'll,
Vince Carter was
the
there
other
in the 90s,
Yeah.
right?
yeah. It's unbelievable.
Julius Peppers played basketball.
Peppers.
Joseph Forte.
Yeah. All right. Should we take a break? Should we do our top 5 and get out and do our free picks? What should we do here?
Top 5 and get out.
Don't give CJ that choice.
Top 5 this week are our top 5 favorite sports
I knew
draft
the answer to that one.
Top 5 favorite sports draft busts. Top 5 favorite
All right.
sports draft busts. All right, I'll go first. Number 5 on my list is Anthony Bennett. Boy, I watched him work out before a game one time, and he looked just one on nobody.
Yeah.
He
There.
looked so good.
There's your red
He
flag.
you were like, how can this dude miss? And it was too bad. Number 4, Tony Mandarich, steroid problem.
Yeah.
He was just a bust. Darko at number 3. I hate even putting Darko on the list because I'm glad when Darko was here. I feel like Darko was on my side, so he had my back. which I was
Well,
very
you
happy
obviously
about.
don't have his back.
But he was a bust.
Do you feel terrible?
Well, I mean that draft had some real good players.
It did. It really did.
And he
wasn't one of them.
He was a human victory cigar. Number 2, Ryan Leaf. I was going to put him or Matt Leinart. I think they both could go on that list, but I went with Ryan Leaf. And number 1, Jamarcus Russell. When I saw Jamarcus Russell at the SEC championship game against Georgia, warming up on the sidelines, I thought to myself, this dude is going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
I mean, he is just had the build, had the arm. I mean, he's just flinging the ball down the field, and he was incredible and just an absolute disaster.
Yes.
Absolute disaster. All right, Lang.
Similarly, I almost put Johnny Football on mine, Johnny Manziel, who was an incredible college player and first-round pick and wasn't good in the NBA. So I got Darko number 5. That draft, 2003. You remember who took him? Who was the GM that drafted him?
Joe Dumars.
Joe Dumars. Now he's over at the New Orleans Pelicans.
Darko got a ring, though.
Yeah, they won that year. They won the championship that season. But there was this whole thing of, you can't take Carmelo Anthony because you have Rip Hamilton. You got Tayshaun Prince. We don't need any more forwards. And I think now the lesson we've all learned is you can take all the good players you want and figure that out later. Like, don't worry about positional fit. Anthony Bennett, yeah, same as you, Fish. Like I saw him, but you remember like 2 months before that draft, he was kind of maybe in the top 7.
Yeah.
And then somehow, like right before the draft, he rose to the top of Cleveland's list and became this number 1 pick. Andre Bruce, when I was growing up in Atlanta, this is one of my first sports memories, was the Falcons had the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Andre Bruce played at Auburn. Was going to be this transformational defensive player, and then he was not. He was not good. Do you remember Brian Taylor?
Yes, I do.
Pitcher on the Yankees, was supposed to be like the next big thing. I had all his baseball cards. Rosa, I'll give them to you if you want. I'll sell them to you at a discount.
Oh, they were worth something.
They were worth something, yeah. And then he got in a fight off the field and hurt his shoulder and never pitched above Double-A.
Which is amazing. Never pitched above Double-A.
Above Double-A.
Wow.
And he was going to be like the next big thing.
Yep.
Incredible lefty pitcher, I believe. And then Sam Bowie, injured at Kentucky on and off, goes number 2 in the NBA draft. And the next pick was Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So, all right, CJ?
Number 5 for me, Sebastian Telfair. I remember reading Slam magazine.
Let's
Lane.
go. I might have
And
wrote
we
the
were freaking out about how good Sebastian Telfair was going to be in the NBA, and then it just never really took off. And it kind of changed. It changed the way I view guys coming out of high school, and it changed it so much so that when LeBron James came out, I was like, he probably knows Sebastian Telfair, and boy, he wasn't. He wasn't. So that's good. Hasheem Thabit. I forgot about Hasheem until Rosa started sending his in a little foreshadowing. It was like, oh, yeah, I thought Hasheem Thabit was going to be good. I thought he was going to be more than just a rotation player, and he wasn't.
The Grizzlies did too.
He was so bad. Jamarcus Russell, he's on here at number 3. That was my organic chemistry teacher's nephew, so he flew to wherever Jamarcus Russell was having his draft party at, came back with a big Jamarcus jersey, and he had a couple of autographs that he used to
bet it was a big
auction.
jersey.
Yeah, that he used to auction off for like supplies and things of that nature for our chemistry department. And then Jamarcus Russell let everybody down. Anthony Bennett was so very, very bad. Looking at him like, oh, this guy, especially the way we were playing, we were just throwing the ball to those dudes in the day and say, hey, back somebody down and get a bucket for us. You're 7 feet. You're big as hell. Just catch the ball and finish. And he couldn't do any of that. And then number 1 for me is Ryan Leaf. I remember how excited everybody was that year. It was Peyton and Ryan Leaf both coming out the same year. They ignored my man Charles Woodson. It's like, both of these guys are going to be great. We've got our new Dan Marino versus John Elway. Can't wait to watch it. Peyton versus Leaf. And Leaf's ass was just a bad quarterback.
Yeah, he was. Roser?
All right, we're going to go with Hasheem Thabit is going to be number 5 here. Hasheem Thabit, Fish, was this your first or second year with the squad? He was the
Maybe
2009 draft.
Second.
2009 draft. See, how did you not have him on your list? Because you got to have some stories being on the road with him. I mean, Tony Allen always says, he's like, yo, man, there's 45 on the clock and you're eating a hot dog. How are you going to be able to play when you got hot dog bun all in you? How are you going to be able to play when you just ate a hot dog? Like, you ain't going to get. It's an arena. They got hot dogs in there. You can go get a hot dog.
I've seen a lot of NBA players eating hot dogs and popcorn an hour before the game.
Oh, I remember Rajon Rondo. Rajon Rondo was not playing in a game. I don't remember which team he was playing for at the time. I don't Bulls, Celtics, Lakers, whatever, whoever else he all played for. Mavericks. I think it was the Mavericks when he hated Rick Carlisle, and one of the equipment people, or maybe it was a ball boy or something, Rondo gave him $100 and said, go get me some of those barbecue nachos. And literally went up there, got Rondo barbecue nachos, and Rondo's like, keep the change. I don't care. Yeah. So if you want, I'm saying, if you're a player and you want to get some food, it's an arena. You can get some food. So Hasheem Thabit, number 5. Ryan Leaf, number 4. Anthony Bennett, number 3. Jamarcus Russell, number 2. All a common theme with those players. I tried to pick guys, too, where it wasn't injuries.
Yeah.
Because injuries you can't help.
Right.
It's like, what can you do about the injury thing? Stephen Chilcott. Stephen Chilcott is also, he is one of the 3 players to be drafted number 1 overall in the Major League Baseball draft and never play in the major leagues. He just played in the minors, bounced around in the minors from 1966 to 1972. One of the guys, the guy who was drafted in 96, can't remember his name right now, he opted to go to IMG. He said, I'm just going to go to I'm going to go continue at IMG, and I'm not going to go to the majors. And then in 2015, he got drafted again or something, and then he never played.
The other guy I thought about putting on, he had an MLB career. It was like in the early 90s, the Braves had the number 1 pick in the draft, and they were going to take Todd Van Poppel. You remember the pitcher?
Yeah.
They were going to draft him number 1 overall, and he wanted a big bonus. And Bobby Cox was the GM at the time and went to dinner with this other guy's dad and was like, I'll offer you a contract right now. If you sign it, we'll draft your son number 1. It was Chipper Jones. And that was the Braves took Chipper Jones number 1 instead of Van Poppel, and that worked out pretty darn good.
Yeah. It was Brady Aiken. I'm sorry, it wasn't 1996. It was 2014. Brady Aiken was taken first overall by the Astros in the 2014 draft. Did not sign with the team. Instead, he enrolled at IMG Academy in Florida as a post-grad. Then the Indians, a year later, in the 2015 draft, now the Guardians, selected him 17th overall in the first round, and then they released him in 2021 after never playing in the big leagues. Yeah.
Wow. Speaking of the big leagues, there's only one game tonight in Major League Baseball.
That's right.
It's the Atlanta Braves in New York to take on the Mets. The Braves going with Grant Holmes, 4-6 with a 3.71 ERA. Griffin Canning for the Mets, 7-3 with a 3.91 ERA. Mets at -110. Both teams -110. So looks to be an even matchup. What do you think, Lang?
Braves lost last night, but they've been hitting the ball pretty well the last couple of weeks. I'll take the Braves.
Take the Braves. All right, Roser, who are we going with?
We are in this game?
Grant Holmes is the guy who looks like Kenny Powers.
Oh.
He's fun to watch.
I'm just looking at record. I have to go
the Mets have lost 10 of their last 12, though.
Well, then they're due. So we're going
They won
Mets.
last night.
All right.
Oh, damn. Well, then they might not be due.
Yeah.
All right, let's just take the over and root for
Root
runs.
for points.
Root for points. Yeah. I mean, those ERAs aren't amazing, so
No.
they're not bad, but they're not amazing.
Griffin Canning's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, my pick, my free pick today is the Mets tonight. I'm sorry, Mets minus the 110 against the Atlanta Braves. Anybody else got a pick?
Taking the Yankees and Aaron Judge hit a home run tomorrow night, home against the A's.
All right.
Yeah.
I got an MLS parlay. Take New York City plus 140 over CF Montreal. Take Nashville SC plus 105 over DC United. And take the Nashville is plus 105 there. And take the Portland Timbers over Toronto FC plus 135. $5 will win you 52.
He said that so casually. I got an MLS parlay for you.
Yeah.
There is some Club
like
World
that.
Cup today.
Oh, yeah.
Juventus is playing Man City right now. Man City's up 2-1. And then tonight,
2-1. Hold on, I got a bet on that game.
Real Madrid plays tonight. And somebody else.
2-1.
Yeah.
Okay, I had over 1.5 goals.
There you
so
go.
That's good. That's on a parlay. So we'll see how the rest of it. And I have Real Madrid tonight minus 1.5. Real
Yeah,
Madrid
they're
minus
playing
1.5 tonight.
Al Hilal, they're going to win that game.
Yeah, minus 1.5 for Real Madrid.
No, they play
tonight.
Salzburg, but they're going to win.
Yeah.
Bottom of the first, the Giants are down 3-0 to the Marlins. You can get the Giants on the live line plus 216. Is Rafael Devers a team killer?
Could be.
Hope not.
I hope not either. Cubs are up 2-0 on your Cardinals right now. If you want to get the Cardinals on the live money line, it is plus 429.
Brooklyn Nets traded tonight's 36th
top of the
pick
seventh,
to
yeah.
the Phoenix Suns.
The Brooklyn Nets traded what?
36th pick tonight to the Phoenix Suns.
All right.
Grizzlies have 2 picks tonight.
We do have 2 picks tonight. We got 48 and
50-something, 50.
maybe we can package one of those and move up a little bit.
55.
Get a new two-way guy. I'm interested if they do. They've used it, whether it's been Vince Williams Jr., G.G. Jackson, Cam Spencer. Each of the last couple of years, you've ended up taking a two-way guy. I am interested to see if they do that again tonight, and if it's a big man. They've had a lot of guards. Last year it was Yuki, Zion Pullen, Cam Spencer on the two-way contracts. Interesting if they go a big man there.
All right. Well, we'll see. Tonight's second round of the NBA draft. That's going to do it for us here on the Odds Couple on this Thursday afternoon. We will be back with you on Monday at 2 o'clock. So make sure you tune in then. Until then, good luck with all your bets. Enjoy the weekend. For CJ, for Roser, for Lang, I'm Fish. Thanks for joining us here on the Odds Couple. Keep it here on Grind City Media.
by overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour. Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit Shinedown.com.
Murray State is going to the College World Series. It's easy for me to pick a team because 1, I love an underdog. 2, I hate UCLA, and I see that opening round matchup. And 3, we are connected to the school's most famous alumni, John Morant of Murray State.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Tony Allen joining us. I believe Hey!
Young TA with a fresh chop. That boy sliced today, boy. You say that boy got the tape on the side. Okay, TA.
Hey, and I like how you blurred out your background so we can't see that La Quinta this time.
Can't see the hole in the wall, TA.
Can't see the hole in the wall.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.